Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Black Oni podcast. We are on episode 31, and I am your host, JBlaze06. And I'm joined today by Soil, aka Soad.
What's up?
And the new Prince.
Hello.
So we have a new face on the Black Oni podcast. Want you all to welcome him. Exactly. And we have Dave as a face, but because he's on mobile, and since Skype is a pain in the ass, Skype doesn't allow for more than 2 people on mobile calls.
Yep.
For Skype, which is kind of insane because Google Hangouts lets you go on phone, no problem. And I would use Google Hangouts, but I find that Skype can be more stable at times.
Knock on wood.
No, knock on wood. More stable. So we are going to go right into our icebreaker. I totally forgot what it was, though. Hold on, let me bring it up. But before we go to that, even, I want to first give you guys a chance to plug what you guys do. So we'll start with Dave. Dave, do you have other thing that you have going on, right?
We have our website that it's going on right now, wdwp.co. Although I will admit the last week we have been a little busy playing a crap ton of Destiny. So we've neglected that, but we will be back on track, just giving you reviews and insightful articles and opinions and different things of that nature just in the gaming world.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what about you, new Prince?
All right. Well, I actually can't talk about something that I'm working on right now, but it's with a friend out in California, and I may be moving to Las Vegas because of it. Yeah, just don't ask. I'll just say it's got things to do with hotels and video games. And no, you won't believe the connection, but it is good for work. Besides that, though, I am working for and writing for GameSkinny.com. And besides that, just keep my head afloat in all the ridiculous things that are going on with gaming and people's ridiculous complaints and shutting you up at every corner.
And just a little bit of background as to kind of like where you're coming from and what kind of stuff you've been doing. I know that you've had experience working at GameStop.
Of course, yes.
And you've had experience working with Ubisoft as a consultant.
Yes. Actually, I was a brand ambassador.
Brand ambassador.
Yes.
Fancy. And so, I thought it would be really cool to have your expertise on the industry and also kind of where you're coming from in a lot of things. When we connected at PAX, especially, we kind of like talked. I was like, you know what, this is a person that I think would be a really good fit for the podcast.
I appreciate that. I did speak at PAX. I was talking about helping people get jobs in the gaming industry, and I'm still discussing that with a good amount of people who are working at the executive level in the gaming industry. A couple people from EA, still people from Ubisoft, and a couple people from Sega, actually, from the past. And they've given me a good amount of insight about what it's like working in the industry and the mistakes that young people are making now when it comes to looking for jobs and what they're trying to do and what they should be looking to do. And, it's why I gave the speech at PAX, which was fantastic. But right now, I look at the industry and I see where it's going. And lately, my next article is going up on October 1st. It's actually going to be discussing the age difference. And what games are being made for them, and we're talking about ages 8 to 16, 17, and what games are being made for us, and how radically different things are changing. And I'm realizing the complaints and the reviews are being geared towards 2 different genres and 2 different generations. And it's getting the research I do right now is interesting.
Okay. And
it's like when you see the difference of what an 8-year-old gamer looks for and what we look for, it's like we're not even playing the same game. It's really surprising. And if you have siblings that you can, probably relate to and start playing games with them,
yes,
you'd be surprised. It looks like we dropped a call, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think So again, Skype is an interesting beast. So Dave just probably got disconnected, and he might be back on now.
Yep.
But please continue.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to go too far into it right now because I'm still not finished with the proper amount of research. But when you look at the numbers and the sales figures, and then you look at what's sold and who's buying it versus what's being played and how it's being played, because as you probably know, a lot of data is taken in from games, a lot of metric data, whether it be, this is where trophies came into play, actually, what people are doing and completing in games and where people spend the most amount of time. And if they're able to grasp different age groups and different demographics about where people are playing games the longest and what they're doing with those games, you start realizing that they're designing for a very different type of mentality. Your biggest example, if I can give a good example, is Minecraft.
Yes.
If you look at the average age group playing Minecraft and the people who are doing things out of the ordinary, and where 2.0, or I should say Minecraft 2 now at this point,
Yes.
where Minecraft 2 will go, shows you that they're listening very, very closely to how people are playing these games. And that actually leads right into, Destiny and how people are like complaining about one thing, but Destiny is a product of what gamers have been playing for the last 10 years.
Yes.
This is quite literally everything you've asked for, and you don't like it. and people look at me a little bit weird, and I've seen it, but over and over again, as I've seen games come out chronologically, and they've added features that seem to make sense on their end, and then all of a sudden, they're ridiculed for it. There's a whole different niche of gamers playing it, loving it, and everyone's like, "What are you complaining about?" So, we'll get into that later on. But right now, that's the kind of research and information that I look for in games. It's the kind of information that every company, whether it's gaming or not, really looks for. They look to find proper amounts of measurable information, and then they use it to funnel their resources into the right areas, and then they produce content based on that information. So there's no more just randomly throwing information out there and see what sticks. Now it's like calculated data, and thanks to social media and this whole always online thing, they're just recording information, whether it's how much you speak to each other, how often you stay in certain parties, which goals and objectives that you tend to complete first in any game, and what you get stuck on. You'll notice this in a lot of your games. There's a lot of feedback coming in Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You're rating missions, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're just rating missions, and we want to see how it is." It's like, no, there's so much data in that mission, and it has a lot to do with what they did in Assassin's Creed Unity. So,
right,
fun.
Okay, yeah, that's really helpful information. Actually, so I remember you was telling me about the trophies and kind of how those came out, and I remember seeing on your your profile on PlayStation, you had like that pro thing. I was like, what's that all about? So you told me a little bit about that. So
yeah, they send you goodies when you give them information.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, it's really helpful to have kind of your expertise on the industry as a part of this discussion.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And of course, I appreciate your time, and also Dave, of course, your time, especially with football being a thing right now. So our icebreaker is, what is your gaming guilty pleasure / what game that you like a lot is not critically scored or favorable?
Ooh, you going first, Dave?
I don't know what the score is. I have to look real quick.
I can look. Is it 2014 or?
Yeah. So I don't know if I could agree or disagree because I missed that last part of the question.
Okay, all right. So okay, fine. You're it could be either or, so it could be either of those questions. So if it's your gaming guilty pleasure, or if it's a game that scored low, especially on Metacritic. So it got an 89 on Metacritic.
Yeah, 2014, the Rocksmith 2014 edition.
Ah, okay.
User score is about an 8. See, if it wasn't for that last bit of question, I'd be all over this. But that's
what would make that your guilty pleasure then?
Yes, I mean it is my guilty pleasure because I think of what you can't help but play once a week or several times a month. Like you have to get that in, and it's for me. Like I went through that phase with Guitar Hero and Rock Band where at least once a week I was just going at it. I could not stop. And when Rocksmith, the first one came out, like it kind of happened, but not really. There were a few issues I had with it that didn't make it the game that I wanted it to be. But 2014 is my new Rock Band. Like, I will come home on Friday night and play for 2 or 3 hours straight just because I have to. Like, I cannot help but play this game till my fingers start to bleed. Like, I
Now
love
you're
this
playing
game.
Rocksmith. Are you actually? I mean, have you tried pulling yourself away from the game and seeing and applying what you've learned from the game and playing a real life, guitar on your own?
Absolutely. It was with Guitar Hero and Rock Band that I bought my first guitar. So I'll play other songs or just play what's in my head or just jam out some nights. But it's cool to see how playing Rocksmith 2014, like I'll just be sitting here and I'll be watching football and I'll pick up my acoustic and I'll just start to play something. Like, I could riff on something I learned later that day or expand it in another direction I couldn't take it before, or play something by memory, because it literally will teach you from start to finish how to play a certain
Even
song.
kind of like timing wise too.
Oh, yes.
It actually is really accurate, and it does adjust. I think that it adjusts based on your performance. So if you find yourself struggling at a certain part, it'll slow down or it'll change what notes you're hitting, and then start to adjust to how much better you're doing.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
cool.
well, it's crazy. Like, and you can switch between, like, say, rhythm guitars to, or more just keeping the melody or the rhythm, or lead guitarist and soloing and stuff like that. And I'm actually really close to learning my first lead song, which I never thought I could play, but it's crazy how it just teaches you. It teaches you the fundamentals, and then we'll add more to that and add more to that.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty awesome that the games have come to a point now where they can just literally teach you how to play certain songs. And you're doing it because it's fun, not because, like, oh man, I really need to, like, find out how to play this song. It's like, no, it's just
It's
awesome.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it makes me want to go, head to a pawn shop, grab a guitar, and get it back in my system. Because if there's anything you're gonna really benefit from, it's like, hey, I've learned how to actually play the guitar because of this game. Like, talk
Right.
about Testament.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What
No,
about
I mean,
you?
Oh, man.
Okay. Just for reference, is this game supposed to be in 2014 or is it any game?
Any game, all time.
Okay, I've got a serious problem with Ninja Gaiden. I don't know why. I've purchased every Ninja Gaiden since the first one on Xbox. Well, since the reboot,
Yeah.
I've purchased it maybe 2 or 3 times, like trying to sell it till I stop playing it. I've beaten number 1. I've beaten 1, 2. Number 1 and then Black, and then number
Yes.
1 and then Sigma, and then number 2 and then Sigma 2. and I don't know why I keep playing these games, but there's something very empowering about being Ryu Hayabusa. And the game and Razor's Edge, I played 3 to complete. To completion, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm done. And then Razor's Edge comes out. It's like, and I'm not done. and the game scored. I mean, Ninja Gaiden 3 scored a 3 out of 10 originally, and then scored a 7. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
What?
And yeah, I mean, not
nuts.
to sound like a jerk, but any game that lets me jump off a building, jump on top of a Harrier jet, cut off its wings, stab the pilot, and jump off again, it's really hard for me to hate that game. So that's exactly what Ninja Gaiden 3 is like. It's completely absurd, but we're talking about video games here, not to sound like ridiculous. I have no sense of realism in that game at all.
Yeah.
And now that Razor's Edge came out for the Wii U and the regular systems, I sold it again, just hoping to God that it wouldn't come out again for the PS4 and the Xbox One, because I know me. And the moment another Ninja Gaiden type game's gonna come out, I'm gonna buy it. I'm a Devil May Cry. Like, I love spectacle fighters. Like, anything Platinum. Like, Bayonetta not coming out on PS4 is a really heartbreaking thing to me.
Oh
Like,
my
I hate
god. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and not even, don't get me started on Nintendo, because everyone knows I've got some serious problems with some of their business decisions. But I gotta say, from Platinum's point of view, I really hope you make bank on releasing Bayonetta when you have, because you're releasing it against Super Smash Brothers. Your 2 biggest names on the Wii U right now for this holiday season are going up against each other, because Bayonetta has no other competition, and it would have no other competition on other consoles.
Right.
But I'm really upset about that. So my guilty pleasure is absolutely Ninja Gaiden, and it sucks because if you're playing PlayStation Now, it's available for stream, and I look at it every other day like, Like it's bad. Like I have so many other games. I've got Destiny. I've got Dance Central for God's sakes, which is a very fun game. Actually, I should call it my guilty pleasure. Dance Central is a blast. If yeah, I know. I'll say it.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No,
It's
not.
fucking awesome.
Like you'll sit there and like these are real moves. This is a real dance class. This is fantastic. But if Ninja Gaiden comes out, you should immediately think of me because I'll probably buy it the first day like a clown, and I can't help it. And then I'll buy it again.
It's fucking awesome.
That's bad.
So
And yours?
my guilty pleasure for now is, in a sense of the Metacritic score, is Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of overall, my guilty pleasure, in terms of like, no matter what it is, I will kind of buy it pretty much. Metal Gear, hands down. Because most of the Metal Gears that have come out have been, really well received in terms of like Metacritic and stuff like that. But even if not, no matter what, I mean, unless they like completely diverge from the story completely, even Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is probably the weakest in the series, if not, for like one of the, Game Boy advanced versions of the game or something like that. Like I enjoyed that game so much, so much. It was flawed as fuck, but it was like
Rising or
Rising, yes.
Okay, yeah, I actually just YouTubed it. I don't even lie. Even though it's a type of game that I like, it just got so bad after a while. I was just like, I'm done with this.
The story got so bad, so bad. But that that would be my guilty pleasure because it was in a lot of ways an abomination to the Metal Gear series, but in a lot of other ways it was in its own rights. It kind of fit just because of like what you saw Raiden doing in Metal Gear 4, for example. It's just like holy shit. Yeah.
I mean, you must have lost your mind when you saw the Phantom. The 20 minutes of gameplay, the recent footage that came out.
I didn't even watch all of it yet. I told myself I wasn't going to do it to myself because like I saw like the first 3 minutes. I was just like,
I haven't played Ground Zeroes, and I just didn't want to pay the money for it. But I'm sitting there going,
totally understandable.
I mean, if there's any amount of this gameplay in Ground Zeroes where I just get to just kind of do whatever and really just explore and get myself trained to play Phantom Pain, well, suddenly I'm not.
Uh-oh.
Still here.
Okay, so I think my connection might have just cut off for a second.
It's quite all right. It happens. Thank you, Skype.
Basically. So yeah. What did you just say before it got cut off now?
I was really considering, after seeing more of the gameplay, I'm considering going out and grabbing Ground Zeroes just to get myself acquainted with the controls and, get down with it.
Yes. So I will say this about Ground Zeroes. From what I've seen of the Phantom Pain has way more mechanics that they've added into the game, way more exploration, way more everything. But Ground Zeroes in its own right was a shit ton of fun for me, at least, especially being such a huge Metal Gear fan. The fact that they charge that much for it kind of still pisses me off, but
it's funny because they've pulled this move off so many times, but you didn't realize it. They actually did this 3 times in a row, to be really honest with you. And people didn't realize it, but when they shipped Metal Gear Solid 2, the demo, it was shipped with Zone of the Enders.
Right, but that was a full game along with it.
I know, hear me out, but why did you buy Zone of the Enders? Just be honest with yourself.
I never actually bought the first Zone of the Enders when it first came out because I didn't have a PS2 yet.
I did it because I wanted to play Metal Gear Solid, and I didn't play Zone of the Enders for a month. And granted, don't get me wrong, Zone of the Enders is a awesome, fantastic game.
Awesome.
But truth be told, that game sold as well because of Metal Gear, much like Crackdown sold because of Halo.
Yes.
We've seen this move before as they were just like, well, why? Let's just trim the fat and just release this.
Yes.
They're just being on, and I'm not trying to defend their actions. I don't agree with them. The game is still overcharged.
Yeah.
But we saw the same thing in the Zone of the Enders collections, number 1 and 2. But guess what came packaged in that? Metal Gear Rising Revengeance demo, or I was just like I've seen this before. So when I see Ground Zeroes, I'm just like, oh, you're just not putting a game out this time.
Right, exactly. That's the same way I try to look at it too. I was like, this is basically the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. But we're gonna move on to the gaming section of the podcast. What you playing?
I will
Destiny.
not. We're all playing Destiny. Like,
We're all fucking
we're all
playing
playing.
Destiny. And this is we'll talk about this later in the podcast, but it's just really interesting to kind of see the actual implication, the actual impact of Destiny being released, and versus the Metacritic and the perception of the game outside of people who are just playing it. Like, I can look at my PlayStation list right now and see at least 15 people playing it. Right now, it's like 12 p.m. Most people probably aren't even awake right now. Like,
I gotta be honest, I've never had a game that this many people were playing at the same time. And I have had a lot of friends who have been at midnight launches for certain games, but never have I seen this many people across this many of my friends list, Xbox and PlayStation included, playing the same game at the same time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
probably why I like Destiny so much. I think I'm looking past all the flaws that the games has and things they're going to release later and realizing I have a chance to play with my friends, and I haven't had that opportunity very often.
Right. That's very true. Very, very true. I mean, I guess we won't spend too much longer on what you're playing, because we're all just playing the same fucking game. But there were a few games that just came out recently, either in Japan or in the U.S. Tokyo Game Show, I think it's still going on right now, right?
TGS is just about over, I think.
Oh, yeah, because it's the future in Japan right now, so it's over. Basically over.
Future in many ways. In
Yes,
Japan.
yes. And one of the guests that we were going to have on, but she couldn't make it due to kind of an emergency situation. Amanda, I forget what her screen name is, but Amanda, she'll be on the podcast soon enough. She actually got a chance to play Hyrule Warriors, and it hasn't released in the U.S. yet, has it?
No, it comes out Tuesday, I think.
Okay, so that's interesting. So there's a bunch of reviews for it already, and there's I'm seeing a lot more often now there being many polarizing reviews for games like.
I apologize. It comes out Friday. There we go.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, that's a normal Nintendo release day. Fridays and Sundays.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
It's a brilliant business decision actually, because the impulse buyers buy more often, and Sundays is a big day for kids. Sorry, I'm going to keep doing that. I apologize.
No, don't apologize.
Pokemon released on a Sunday, and most Nintendo games do, and yeah.
Because most of the Nintendo games are geared more towards children too, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, so a Sunday where people are leaving church and coming out. I want this game. Okay, we're already here. And plus, a normal date for games is a Tuesday for the gamers that are out there, but their sales figures usually dramatically increase on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because it's usually payday. People are buying their entertainment that weekend. Yeah, and which is also if we go forward talking about it, it's a big reason why a lot of games have been pushed into quarter one. And the end of quarter four and the beginning of quarter one into next year. There's a big reason for that, and it's working. Just being honest.
Well, yeah, especially the holiday season. I mean, those are the hot times where people are like, oh, this game is new and out, and I can go pick it up now. And January, people have their leftover money from the holidays, so they pick up a game. Yeah, makes sense.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I'll get there later. But Hyrule Warriors impressions. I haven't had the chance to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to play it?
I want to play it for the sense that it's a Zelda game, and I like the idea of Dynasty Warriors, so.
I mean, Dynasty Warriors has been coming out for 14 years now?
Long fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's been mainly the same.
Like about 10, yeah, about 14 years, actually, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away, but it's not. Like, you can criticize the game all you want to, but there's something about that game that just keeps coming back, and it still sells well, and it's still very popular.
That was going to be my answer for Guilty Pleasure, but I haven't bought a Dynasty Warriors game in a very, very, very long time. Like, not since Dynasty Warriors 4 or 3. I think it was 3.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but, like, that was my Guilty Pleasure, because, like, at the time, even then, I understood that, like, it was just mindlessly going around, just, like, button mashing.
Well, Hyrule Warriors, it reminds me of that attachment they had released with the Nintendo Wii of, I believe it was Link's crossbow training.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's more Zelda coming, but here's a little taste to make sure you remember that Zelda exists. It's sometimes it's what you got to do because we've gotten a Link Between Two Worlds, and then we got Hyrule Warriors, and hopefully we have a brand new Zelda next year. It really needs to be next year. Stop messing around, Nintendo. It needs to be next year.
Yeah.
Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the Wii U's been out for 2 years now, right?
Yes, it has been, and it's a surprising amount of time for a system to go this long without seeing some really, really big fan service. They're trying new things. They have their beat of their own drum. I'm not going to sit there and criticize Nintendo, but this really has been their week of releases. We've got, Hyrule Warriors. Looks like Final Fantasy Curtain Call, which is so exciting. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah.
I have a DS on the way. My girlfriend has captured both my DSs somehow. I'm just going to give up on having these and just swap out games so she's not looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the two games that I think have made a lot of traction in the last week. Besides, of course, Madden and what else is that? I mean, of course, I'm not going to mention Destiny. That's a no-brainer. But alongside of that, those are the games from Nintendo.
Yeah. I know the 1KK Kevin. He played Theater Rhythm, one of the older versions, and he was showing that to me at New York Comic Con. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. It's kind of like a cool take on the Final Fantasy realm in a rhythm-based game. Pretty cool.
It's catchy. It's fun, and you can play it on mobile too.
Nice.
Yeah, you can play it on mobile and just download the song separately, which is a much better idea. The way I see the game, anyway. Because are you guys Final Fantasy fans?
Hell yeah.
Not really.
And that's usually how it goes. Like yes and I can honestly name 4 Final Fantasy games I've played from start to finish and loved every second of it. I haven't played every single one, so the music from every single one may not jump at me. So to be able to play the actual songs that I want, unless these games give me a way to explore other Final Fantasies or entice you to play it, I can't really see it being like an over-the-top must-play experience.
Right.
So I would rather, if I had the choice, play the mobile version instead.
That makes sense.
That way I pick what I want,
Right. That makes sense. That's pretty cool. There's this game called D4 that just released not too long ago, and I didn't really know too much about it, but apparently D4, I forgot already. It stands for Demon... Hold on. I got this. Where is it? There were a bunch of reviews that came out for it, and people have...
the guy who did Deadly Premonition. That came out?
Yeah, right? No one knows because it was
like Destiny.
It just happened. So it's called Dark Dreams Don't Die.
This looks interesting. I feel very foolish not knowing about this.
Well, a lot of people didn't know about
it was an Xbox One exclusive, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't have my system anymore.
What happened to your system?
I no longer own an Xbox One. I'm back to being a Sony guy.
Shame.
No.
Okay. It's like shame or yay?
I mean, it was nice while it lasted, but I mean, with all the same kind of games that I play and the exclusives on one system compared to another, I dedicate most of my time to my PS3 or my PS4. That's all I really need.
I'll be honest, my Xbox survives this day because of Halo. Like, to know Halo was coming, it's like, okay, you can stay. And again, this does not mean knocking Xbox for any reason at all. It's just the type of games that I play and I look for are a year or two away. So if there's any Xbox exclusives that come out that like pique my fancy, it'll take a lot. If I had a choice of shooter, like Call of Duty will be on my Xbox One. Once that's done, Halo will be my shooter. Titanfall is my shooter, but it really is shooters for me on my Xbox. Other games, like my personal favorite, like Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry, is, in my opinion, control better with PlayStation controllers because of input time. So it's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's totally fair, and I get a lot of people why they go to Xbox for their first-person shooter needs.
No.
I mean, I understand it from the sake of
I can't.
Where
like,
it
if
came
you put the
from
controllers
before.
next to each other, I mean, like for a first-person shooter, just the way the PS4 controller is compared to an Xbox One, hands down, I go with the PS4 controller every time.
I do too.
I have to ask you, what was your first-person experience? Like, when you played a first-person shooter, was it PC, or did you end up playing like a first-person shooter on a PS2 or Xbox?
I mean, my first one,
The one you played like ridiculous amounts of, like the one you really
GoldenEye.
It was GoldenEye.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So somewhere in between.
That is fair.
Yeah. So,
Although I played a lot on PC as well back
Yeah.
when with the original Call of Duty, because that mouse and a keyboard, you can't really beat that.
right.
But I just over the years, I guess I migrated to a PlayStation controller. But I love the triggers in the PS4 controller, man,
They're
and just
really
the
nice.
way it's set up,
They're
just
really nice.
almost perfectly horizontally. I don't know how.
I mean, the portal to the system makes perfect sense. Like, if this is how you control and this is how you feel, your preference to system, if it's the controller alone, that's totally fair. It's
Right.
absolutely fair. You can't really knock anybody for that. Like, oh, you're just being a fanboy. It's like, no, I like the thing I'm using to control the game.
Right.
You know?
And I was playing like games like Quake back in the day on PC with mouse and keyboard. Like I was using that, and then like I had a PS2 and an Xbox, like the original ones, and for first-person shooters, it was hands down the Xbox just for the controller alone. It felt like it was made for first-person shooters. And so the Xbox 360 and PS3 came out, and I was like, the 360 controller is better for shooters still, but I still really do like the PS3 controller.
I mean, yes, last gen, yes, I will absolutely say that, just for the way it was built, because the PS2 controller was just a little, or PS3 one was a little too small, just not quite the right size.
And that's the other thing, too. It's like a lot of people going into this next generation still have that mentality that the Xbox is their first-person shooter console because of their affliction towards the 360, because that's what they've been using for so long. Whereas if you suddenly transition to having both consoles and then you have both of the controls in your hand, I think personally most people would gravitate towards a PS4 controller. But I do really like the Xbox One controller as well. But I think overall, after like experiencing the both of them, I just prefer the PS4 controller.
I mean, the PlayStation's still just over the line of selling 2-to-1 PlayStation 4s versus Xboxes.
Yeah.
And, Microsoft has made some pretty good moves, especially with that Madden bundle, sending out Xboxes. And people are just adapting now slowly. Like, I feel comfortable with the Xbox. I'm just going to stick with it because all this newfangled technology is too difficult. It's what a lot of the older gamers in their 30s and 40s are saying. They just don't want to make it difficult. So much like an Apple ecosystem, you just go for the iPhone next, whatever, because you don't want to think about it.
Right.
It's what's really happening. So I think you'll see, unless you're really into particular games, I don't think you'll see any more crossover at this point. I think you'll see both systems just start, training along. And I think PlayStation will stay on top for the holiday season. Mm-hmm. You'll see Xbox. What am I saying? I'm not even getting into this. I'm predicting sales over here, but I'm just like, I think people have their preference.
Yeah.
On controllers and systems, just because it's comfort level now. I don't really think it's really about the specs or the the specs anymore. It's about what games I play and what I feel comfortable playing, and that's it. Like what looks cool in the living room. That's the end of it.
So this is a question I actually wanted to ask during the last podcast, but I don't think we got to it, or maybe we did. I don't even remember. But we're seeing a trend amongst the industry, at least in terms of like PS4 versus the Xbox One, where the PS4 is continuing to outsell the Xbox One worldwide. Do you think that's going to continue out throughout the year, especially with the Halo collection coming out, or do you think that Microsoft is going to be able to kind of reclaim a month or two?
Well, I think that Andy just said it best. It's about what people want to play. It's about what people want in their living rooms and where they feel comfortable with. And to be fair, Microsoft has made a lot of good moves, and they have some quality content coming out. If I still had my Xbox One, that Halo Master Chief Collection would be a day one purchase for me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm preloading that game.
I mean, and I played Forza Horizon 2 just the other day, that demo, and I'll say that the controller for that game was fantastic, especially with the rumble and the triggers. I love that. Mm-hmm. So I think that you'll start to see more people gravitate toward it. They aren't as cautious because Microsoft's more direct and focused with their message. They have been the past few months. They've learned from their mistakes.
Kind of.
Kind of. But I still think you'll see an increase in both, especially with exclusives hitting both platforms over the next 4 to 6 months, especially in early next year.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot more consoles in households.
I think that Microsoft has put themselves in a fantastic position for the holiday season. They will close the gap. I don't think they'll overtake Sony in worldwide sales. They may very well do some pretty decent damage when it comes to this year, primarily because the amount of exclusives, and when I say exclusives, I like to say things you can only do on Xbox and things you can only do on PlayStation.
Right.
Including
Are
PC,
hardcore.
because they try to say a lot of exclusives are also on PC. That's the thing that
Yeah,
kind of bothers me about them.
that word is getting really annoying, exclusives, but I use it for the sake of definition. But
Yes.
we're seeing Microsoft, who has an excellent marketing strategy because of where they've placed themselves. Like, Microsoft is at a lot more places now. They've got Microsoft stores and they've got brand placement everywhere, and they really have an advantage over Sony. So they can put the Xbox in your face. So for people who haven't moved forward, they're probably going to go with the Xbox because the whole hardcore crowd, the people who really play games, have already known about the PlayStation. So now you've got these people who are in the air about what system to buy this Christmas. And since there's no price difference now this year, you've got
kind of.
kind of. I mean, there really is no true heavy price difference minus the Xbox
Connect bundle.
The Connect bundle, which is whatever. Don't get me started on that thing. But I'm glad I have my Connect. But man, $150. But
that's insane.
It's
insane.
It's not cool.
It's not cool. But we have familiar games like we mentioned Halo 1,000 times.
Uh-oh. God damn it.
Horizon 2's at the end of the month.
Wait, so is Andy, can you guys still hear me?
No. I mean, I can still hear you. I can't hear him.
Oh, he must have got disconnected then. Okay, so it was.
He's got me thinking now. Like, what else does Microsoft have that's coming shortly?
They have Sunset Overdrive.
That's right. That's another big one for them.
Yep, Sunset Overdrive is huge. Killer Instinct is huge. Season 2. They will market. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay. But it just disconnected you because Skype,
Oh, okay. Reasons. They will market this game and their entire lineup, even if it's not the number one choice for all people. They'll market it to the point where you feel like you've got to play. Especially with Minecraft, like they know what they're doing, and I think they will definitely close the gap on marketing.
So I think Microsoft is also in a really good position in that same vein, but also they're still tripping up on like a lot of really basic stuff. So,
like what?
One example that comes to mind is the advertisement that they put up a couple of months ago. That was the Paul. I forgot his last name.
What, Aaron Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was talking to the Xbox and like, oh, he's playing Titanfall and all this stuff. And he was like, Xbox do this, Xbox do that. The main feature that he was kind of exploiting alongside the experience was the voice control, and then like the actual advertisement was for the non-Connect version of Xbox.
Well, I'll speak up for them again.
Yeah.
When exclusives were mentioned earlier, there's still those games that you play on both systems, but there's one company that has their fucking finger up that company's asshole that makes them get the first leeway. And Madden was the recent big one for Xbox.
Absolutely.
So every time I'm not a fan. He's all right. He's kind of funny. But every time I see Kevin Hart and James Cameron on TV, I'm like, shit, here we go. Because Madden's here.
Right, and not even that. I mean, they have Xbox controllers, the Xbox menu. That was an Xbox advertisement.
Yes,
and you've got some big stars and this very funny commercial, and it's very good advertising. Sony has nothing like that going on right now.
Not right. We don't. And it makes me think, like, what else does Sony have that's coming? And all I can think of right now is Drive Club, which is a little bit from now. Well, maybe the Ratchet and Clank remake, but that doesn't really count. What else is there?
This is Little Big Planet 3.
But that's not really a big profile one. I mean, it does have its audience.
Right.
But
it can have a big profile. They just have to really put the emphasis on like getting that out in people's mind share,
Which could be a good play for the fall year going into holiday season, especially if parents want to get a system with two controllers and a game they can play together.
Right.
There's another big one.
Right. That's where they failed the most on Little Big Planet, because I think there's two things I think about Little Big Planet that they failed on. One was the responsiveness of the platforming. I think that it was a little too floaty for a lot of people, and they kind of got off-put by that.
Yeah.
And two was the way that, like, who knows about Little Big Planet? Like, go ahead.
Oh, no, please continue. I don't want to
interrupt. Yeah, I don't think they've done a really good job at kind of delivering the message of what Little Big Planet is and why it appeals to, like, such a wide audience. because there are people who have no idea what Little Big Planet is, and like that little sack boy as a mascot. I mean, like it's a fucking brilliant design. Like, use it.
Yeah, I see your point of view. I have to look at Sony from a worldwide perspective, and there may be very different marketing messages sent elsewhere. Like their marketing could look very different in Europe. It could look extremely different, in the Netherlands or Brazil, and in Australia as well. And I'm wondering, because what we see isn't what everyone else sees, so they may not be focusing on us as hard. I mean, they have sold over 10 million PS4s in the U.S.
Sold?
Yeah, I mean,
wait, is that worldwide or in the U.S.?
Sorry, it's just about. I think my numbers are right. I have to look that up actually. Their majority purchasers. I'll go with this one. The majority purchase was in the U.S. So there's right now 14 million PS4 sold out to the public right now. Not in boxes, not in shipment. 14 million homes have a PS4 inside.
That's insane.
It's very impressive.
That's insane. Like, it's got to slow down at some point. I mean,
it will slow down. It doesn't have to, but it will eventually. Yeah. But the truth is, if you look at it from their point of view, it's like, okay, we have a bunch of PS4s in here. There's a lot of third-party games coming out. We kind of need to worry about the rest of the planet because we have a lot of these games coming out, like The Order and Drive Club, and there's more games coming out after that. I don't know where Deep Down is.
Where the hell is Deep Down?
Like, I mean, come on!
Final Fantasy 15.
It's supposed to be here in like June, and it's now September. I'm pissed about that. Thank you for someone else fucking saying it.
Like, I'm sorry, did we all just forget that game that was their first game, you jackass? Sorry, I'm total tangent, but I'm still a tangent. But they're going to be focusing on their worldwide strategies, and they're not going to push as hard as Microsoft is for the holiday season. But you'll probably see them spike like crazy January, February, March, April, because that's just what they do. It's a normal trend for them. You don't compete. You don't put Christmas against someone like Microsoft, where they've been selling Xbox Ones to college students, along with tablets for college students and computers for college students. Not that hard to get inside the homes.
Right, that's true. But it also makes me wonder, like, I think Microsoft finally put up their numbers, their NPD numbers of like selling 5 million, and like Microsoft has had a lot going for them in terms of like content that has been releasing throughout. Like Titanfall, for example, was supposed to be like their big hitter, the thing that was supposed to like overtake the landscape essentially in terms of like sales, and like it pushed some Xboxes, but it did nothing in terms of like putting a dent in the armor of someone like Sony, and it's still in second place with like the Wii U, I think. So I'm really interested to see kind of what that impact is going to be like with those games coming out from Microsoft right now. I mean, if Titanfall couldn't do it, could it? Halo surely will.
Halo can do it. Halo can do it. And the other game that, like, we're waiting for The Order and okay, I'll go long term, Uncharted, when that comes out. But there's also one other ace in the hole Xbox people always have, and it pisses me off that we don't have it, and we never will. Of course, man.
Yeah,
that's the other big moneymaker. So they got another one that's still cooking in the oven. Yeah. I mean, they'll be okay. I mean, like, oh man, even with those numbers, 14 to 5. 14 mil to 5 mil. I mean, it's a lot of catching up, but
I need to correct my numbers. That number is, I apologize. The 14 million is a projection for this at the end of this year. It's actually 12 million sold worldwide, which is okay. I know
a lot.
Xbox is still 5.5 million sold out. Although Xbox has not actually admitted that it's sold into the home. They've said it's been sold to retail. While
sold out. That's a bullshit number.
That is a bullshit number.
Like they can say, I mean, basically they can say, particular numbers that are sold to retail, but Sony can confirm this is actually in the household. Yeah. However, on top of that, there are a lot of games that we actually have forgotten about that will sell on next gen systems because of their following, and I'm gonna hit them off now.
Do it.
FIFA is coming Tuesday.
That's true.
And that FIFA will actually show where those systems are selling. And
that's the other football.
Yeah, the other football.
I mean, hate it or love it, FIFA is literally next to one of the top.
It is.
And that's a big deal. We got Disney Infinity, which isn't a huge seller, but it is making a following, and that will do some damage.
Especially with that recent release of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right? It's made some good moves with Marvel. You can't hate that.
Yes.
I'm going to avoid some of the indie titles and go for the bigger titles just because of, for the sake of time, actually.
Warrior. Sorry.
Got Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor. We have new Skylanders coming out. Of course, NBA 2K, Drive Club. We've got we got the Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. I want to keep that off of it. But the games that I think will define where games are, where it's really going to push. Dragon Age, The Evil Within, WWE. Wrestling games are still very big. Keep that in mind.
Yep.
The release of Grand Theft Auto.
That's going to be a huge one in terms of like
that'll dictate where people definitely lie. Oh my gosh! Like, personal note again on that game. I was watching another fucking trailer. And they pissed me off so much by lying to us about that. They really did.
Yeah.
What? Lying about? Oh, about saying it was coming out next gen?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
they said they wouldn't be putting
I would have just skipped it.
Yeah. I would have waited until
they would. And I think that would have really hurt their sales. It's like, by the way,
it would have hurt their sales, but it also would have kind of. The bottom line is the sales. I understand that, but also like public relation. I mean, like relations with your customers.
I think what I'm looking at some release windows, and there seems to be some separation between Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto Online. They may very well separate them. Well, because originally they released online as a separate option later on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could release the infrastructure of Grand Theft Auto Online as a standalone. Because if you've already played Grand Theft Auto and you just want to go play online with your friends and you don't want to pay $60 again, it may be a good option. Can I confirm this? No. Would I be happy about it? Yes.
Yes. I would agree with you on that.
And the last games that are out, that are coming out is you already mentioned Dragon Age.
Of course, Call of Duty.
And Call of Duty is a huge one, of course. That's it's funny because now that this is going to be a very interesting thing to see this year because
there's so many more PS4s.
Right, and Call of Duty always outsells on the Xbox. So now it's like. So is Xbox 360 going to have the majority of the sales? Is PS4 going to have the majority of the sales? Like, it makes
I think it'll be a first. I think it's got to be. I'll call it now. It's September. We got it a month and a half? I think the PS4 will outsell Xbox One when Call of Duty Advanced Warfare comes out. I'll call it this year.
Put it on the table.
Okay, put it on the table. I like that.
Put it on the table.
I like that.
I will. You know what? I'll take that bet too. Actually, because I gotta admit, when you look at the numbers and Call of Duty,
the numbers are staggering.
And Xbox Ones could move off the shelves when it happens. But you know what? I'm still confident enough to say that it will outsell on PS4 this year. It'll be the first in 5-7 years.
I think. I think the one thing that's going to hurt PS4 in terms of that is the exclusive deal that Microsoft has with Call of Duty right now. I think there are still going to be people who have both consoles who will buy it on the Xbox just for that reason alone.
You know who's making up good on this? Fucking Activision.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, of course they are.
It's like, we don't care.
We don't give a fuck.
All right, so I'll ask this question then. Do you think Activision will change their sales structures? Because Destiny has greatly outsold on the PS4. That's Activision. So you think if all of a sudden Call of Duty goes, yeah, by the way, we outsold on PS4, will that change next year's Call of Duty exclusive content deal?
Not as long as Microsoft is paying the money.
I was going to say, as long as Microsoft isn't paying the money, and as long as there isn't a deal in their contract that prevents them from doing that now, I would say that they would start giving a little bit more love to PlayStation for that reason alone. I mean, I'm buying it on PS4, and I think the Black Oni crew who has PS4s primarily are going to be buying it on PS4, and you'll be playing it on Xbox One, which is totally fine.
Yeah, I said I would because it's the feel of the game. It just feels right there. But suddenly my mind's starting to change because I realize if there's another 5 million plus people playing on the PS4, do I really want to play against them? It's MLG leveled, and mostly MLG players will be playing in the first few weeks heavily on the Xbox because that's what it's sponsored on, unless something changes. Or do I want to play with my friends online?
Right.
On the PS4.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough call because again at MLG, that speaks volumes in terms of like if they're being sponsored by Microsoft, that puts that mind share into the minds of people who want to get Call of Duty. So
it's gonna be interesting to see where this goes. Like I'm excited to see where this goes now because the are really turning.
Yes. Ah, so good.
I'm glad you guys brought that up because I hadn't really thought about it till now. Like, hey, by the way,
There's a lot of fucking people out there who have PS4s, and it's gonna be more by the end of this year. Like, what is Black Friday going to be like?
Crazy. That's why I don't go out on Black Friday.
It's funny because Cyber Monday is more exciting, and everyone's just like, "Oh, I might wait till Black Friday to buy a PS4, Xbox One." I tell everyone to don't do that. They're just
Cyber
gonna.
Monday.
I tell everyone to just buy now because you won't see a price difference. There's no price drop. You'll maybe see a package. They'll throw in a controller, or they'll throw in a game, or they'll throw in DLC, Xbox Live, something. But it's not really advantageous to wait till Black Friday to buy a next-gen console right now because both companies see absolutely no reason to do anything special. These systems are selling regardless.
Right.
I mean? Like, even if you're saying Sony's selling more, Xbox isn't really dying right now. They're making money.
Right.
Yeah, they're still selling systems, so there's no reason to do anything special.
So my thought now is I'm wondering if we are going to see even price drops because we've seen Microsoft drop their price twice this year.
Because they had to.
So when they released the Titanfall bundle, I think it was at $450. There was a time where the price went down to $450. And, there was also the actual price drop of removing the Kinect. Like, they dropped the price twice already this year.
You're right.
They won't drop it again. They can't do it once more this year. They won't. They will lose money if they do.
Doing it twice already.
They took it in. Well, what they did when they dropped that price was remove one of the essential pieces of the Xbox One and the Kinect. I'm sorry, but that helped me make me love that system for what it is. To take that away from it kind of takes away all the clout and the coolness about it. Like, to me, it's just a slightly less powerful PS4 to me. But I mean,
cloud processing thing. Haven't seen a difference.
Not yet. Yeah. We might someday. I mean, I've seen the technology demonstrations and go, "Oh, well, that's cool," but that doesn't relate to anything I'm playing in the next 6 months to a year. Not yet.
Right.
They didn't really drop their price. They took out a piece of equipment and then they keep throwing extra shit in for free. Like, they can't keep doing that. I mean, they want to keep throwing money away. They can, and for Sony's end, there's no way they're going to drop that price this year. There's no way.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
it's a really bad idea.
They'd be insane.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be really interesting to see that. I want to move us on to the gaming news. Microsoft buys out Mojang. I'm pretty sure many of you at home on iTunes or YouTube have heard that already. And yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
About them buying Minecraft?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say Minecraft. About them buying Mojang?
Mojang, yes.
I would love to see where this goes. This is clearly a long game that they're playing.
Yes.
Mojang probably has some things in the works that they probably saw as a good investment. So, I mean, it's more than Minecraft, obviously. So they probably like what they saw, and they want to invest in that particular type of game that they're creating. So if that's the case, I say good for them. Okay. Good for Mojang, you know what I mean? Right. And, good luck to Notch wherever he goes in the future. But, yes. Yeah, that sounds like something's boiling in there. It's something, it's like a little secretive. I'm sure it's yeah, I mean, remember, Minecraft came out on the Xbox 360 first. The following was fantastic. It was huge. This may or may not move Xbox Ones now, but who knows what'll go in the future.
What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I'll go with what he said.
Okay.
If it wasn't just $2.5 billion for Minecraft, then rock on. We'll see what else you got.
Yeah, seriously. that could have been money invested towards new IP. They got to have seen something to get them to want to work that out, because there's no way in hell, as a person myself, I'll be looking at this.
No.
I'm just going to throw fucking $2.5 billion at this and just see what happens. There's no fucking way. So, hopefully I wish them all the best in terms of, moving forward. Again, I would have really liked to see that money being put towards, several studios, several IPs, several projects. But, Microsoft has the money, so fuck it.
Just hopefully it's not what they did with Rare, because that would really piss me off.
I mean, by the Microsoft. Yeah, thank you. By the way, for reminding me. I'm horrible. Like, hey, all these great games, you're never gonna see them again.
Gosh.
But
That might have helped kill my dream of ever seeing a few other games come back to life again.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it this way, let's just say I go 3 years in the future, and Microsoft and the Xbox division has purchased Mojang. Minecraft 2, so to speak, or another project from the makers of Minecraft is coming out. It is now preloaded into every other Microsoft device. That is their phone divisions, their PC divisions, their tablet division, of course, the Xbox. If you would had to have paid for the exclusive deal with that, you would have probably been paying close to that same amount of money to be exclusive to Microsoft. So instead, if you take upon the company and say, you know what, this is a great thing to invest in and keep going with it, that may be something to look at in the future. Like I think I'm starting to realize that for them as a division of Microsoft, not just Xbox, there's probably something going on with that. And remember, Sony shut down their entire PC division, which is
to.
yeah, that's even though PlayStation's doing very, very well, they're doing well. Sony is still suffering heavy losses.
Yep.
Microsoft is in the same boat, even though their PC and software division is doing well. They're laying off close to 1,800 jobs by
their software and their phone divisions have been doing really bad, and the tablet division as well. I mean,
yeah, they're rethinking something, obviously.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes because we got to keep in mind that both of these companies are being operated by very smart people that, in some way or another, have just made poor decisions on certain things. So, like, I don't know, the mobile division for Sony, for example, they're just reported that they have like even more losses than they thought they were going to have. You got to keep in mind that they haven't released a phone in the U.S. in like 2 years.
Really? Yeah. Jeez.
What is that even all like? They announced the Sony Xperia Z2 and Z3 in the same year. So the Z2 came out earlier this year in Europe and in Asia, and the Z3 is coming out this year. Those are two flagship phones from the same fucking company that will never probably make an appearance in the U.S.
Especially not now. When Apple's devices go live, Samsung doesn't launch for another 6 months. That's what they do. Like, wow.
Why on earth would they like? It's not even like a different type of phone. It's Z2, Z3. These are successions of the same phone within 1 year, and none of them are being released in the U.S.
Good guess.
Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's so stupid.
Oh man, that is rough.
Maybe the Z3 will come to the U.S. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything about it. Robotic dinosaurs. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was about to say dinosaurs.
Yes, robotic dinosaurs in the new IP Horizon from Guerrilla Games.
By Guerrilla Games.
Yes.
I
excited to see them working on another game.
What do you say?
I am so excited to see them working on another game.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of
I don't
Killzone.
know what to make of it. Like,
I mean, it's a fucking awesome concept.
I brought it up on my PC and I literally took a step back in my chair at work. I was just like, whoa. Like, what is this?
It's fun. It gave you a few glimpses of that in Killzone Shadowfall. When you look at the environments they created and they go, I looked back and I was looking at Killzone. I was just like, I can see where they're playing with this. Yeah, they were just like, okay, all right. For example, the grappling hook mechanic.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the previews that this gentleman has been speaking about what he saw during the test footage, there were rope darts and arrows, and there was a sense of platforming in the game. You did a lot of that in Killzone Shadowfall.
Yes.
So would it really surprise me all of a sudden? No. Robotic dinosaurs, not quite sure where that came in, but
fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this is a world that reminds me of what is that game called?
Turok?
No, a good game. Sorry. It was Odyssey, Escape to the West.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called, but a redheaded protagonist. Very, very cyber post-apocalyptic kind of world. Really cool looking stuff. I'm interested to see where they go with it. And if it's open world, you saw a lot of those little glimpses from Killzone. And if that was their test data they used to pay for this game, then hey, win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm really, really hoping that it's going to be a better experience than Killzone, because Killzone was good in its own right, but
it wasn't great.
right, it wasn't great.
It was very pretty, and it was a little fun, but
Yeah.
I didn't get my Scholar Vasari speech, so I was let down.
Wait, what happened?
I play Killzone to listen to Vasari speak.
Oh, right.
played wonderfully by, was it Brian Cox?
I believe so.
Yes.
Like the way he speaks is the propaganda, and like that whole speech is. I play Killzone for this very reason. And
That was right. That was right when 3 started up. That was him speaking, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like
That
I
was
hate
a
to say
great
it, but
speech.
actually I'm like all pro Helgen. Like I had, like, because when you look at it, it's like you literally just at the end of Killzone 3, spoilers, you killed everyone on the planet. Like this is a terrible ending.
Yeah.
You are not the good guys. You've
Yeah.
never been the good guys, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
I really wish they had taken the moment to explore playing as the other side, but I think Guerrilla failed in that. But sorry.
Yeah.
Back
No,
to
I understand. It's a totally missed opportunity. You got to play the other side in Shadowfall, but you didn't really get a real sense of kind of what that impact is, Final Fantasy 15 was fucking finally shown.
Oh man. I like to lead this one on because Final Fantasy is it's a household name at this point. We've had just about 20 years of Final Fantasy, maybe more. Mm-hmm. I don't really know the true release date of the first Final Fantasy, but people are really starting not to care.
This is true.
Like that's the biggest downside. I feel like Final Fantasy is more of an art form to Square. Like this is our pet project. Like this is an art form. I'm not sure they're really into selling games anymore. I'm seeing it, and I see really I guess very very romantic looking guys with spiky hair in a totally hetero car. Very heterosexual situation where they're just driving around and fighting monsters. I don't think the trailer explained what that purpose of that game was. I mean, I can see travel, I can see a Monster Hunter kind of thing going on, but if you remember last year's demo of you running through a building while a giant Leviathan's destroying it, awesome! Right. This is great. Here we go, Final Fantasy. What the hell is this? Like, what a switch. I mean, not to sound like, I'm not really against the whole... it looks like they're going the Kingdom Hearts direction with this game, and that's not the worst thing. It's not quite what people wanted from a JRPG.
Of, like, real-time action combat?
Yes. Yeah, like, moving around and having the freedom to move the way you want to, not being confined to the paradigm system anymore, at least not that I've seen.
I'm actually really excited about that factor. It is going to be very similar to Kingdom Hearts because of that, but please continue.
Well, I guess it's that the trailers are just giving people taste and just assuring you that the game is being made. like, hey, let's let you know, we haven't forgot about you. We're still making this game. Here's some stuff that we just worked on. Bye.
Yeah.
Like that's it's kind of pointless. I almost think that you're better off not showing anything at all and just blowing people away with a proper trailer. But this game has no intention of coming out next year, in my opinion. If you see in progress in September, the beginning of quarter 4 of 2014. Yeah, sure, you'll come out sometime soon, whatever. Like, you're really, really making me struggle about caring about this game.
The problem I think that I'm seeing is it's... All right, the first time we heard about this game was in 2004.
Jeez.
What?
So, remember before the PS3 came out? This Final Fantasy Versus 13? This is what this game is.
God, I am just realizing that now.
This is what this game is. This game has been in development for 10 years. And they've only started showing shit last year. What?
What?
How is that possible?
I don't think they're interested in making a game that sells. I think this is art to them. This is work to them. This is a product of what could be, maybe. I think after seeing Advent Children, I thought they would go into film. But, I mean, do you really think they're... I mean, looking at the last few Square games out of that product, looking at from Crisis Core on, do you really think they're interested in really making Final Fantasy games or just having fun at this point?
Honestly, in terms of, like, my excitement for playing it, like, I really want to play that. Like, I love the idea of all new characters, all new environment, free roaming action, fighting all these monsters, utilizing magic, and your partners being able to jump in and do cooperative, fights with you. I'm really interested to see how all of that plays out and the real time action combat. Like I've been hoping that we'd get a game like that for a long time because, like Ninja Gaiden, I love Ninja Gaiden. I love Metal Gear Rising. I love Bayonetta. Fucking a. And I love a lot of those real, like Devil May Cry. I love those real time action games. I wanted to see that married with the idea of Final Fantasy for its storytelling, for how much emphasis they put on like building the world, and obviously like the effects. I really was interested to see how that would go out, especially with like Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, whatever the fuck. I was really interested in that because they were going further and further away from kind of a turn-based gameplay. So I don't know. I think a lot of people will catch on to it because it's an action game more so than the other Final Fantasy games. But at the same time, again, people probably don't care as much about Final Fantasy anymore because it's just like 10 years is entirely too long to be waiting for one game.
It's flashy, it's fancy, it's gorgeous, but it's a brand new world, and people aren't quite as invested in it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's trying to cater to that Final Fantasy VII loving crowd.
Yeah.
Like that modern day feel with like the magic on the outside, almost steampunk, cyberpunk-esque.
Yep.
But with games like Witcher and Dragon Age and the Western developers really capitalizing on what people really love to do in those action RPG types of games.
Yep.
This seems like they either are just not caring too much about Western gamers and they're trying to refocus on the home team, or they don't have a chance in hell. I'm not quite sure. I mean, the entire Lightning series did not. For the record, Final Fantasy 13 sold like hell.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't as well as received, it sold like hell. But Lightning Returns did not sell, and that's a very bad thing to have a game so long in development.
Yeah, people didn't care about Final Fantasy 13 anymore. That's the thing. Like they wanted to move on to the next. Like we've known about 15 for the last 10 years. Like we're waiting for that game, waiting for that experience, and they've wasted a lot of fucking time on Final Fantasy 13, dude. Like a lot of two sequels that no one really asked for.
I agree. Does anybody know what happened in those games?
I think
I have to wiki.
In terms of like overall sales for the entire trilogy, I think they reached 5 million.
Wow,
5 million sales. So
what do you think, Dave?
Huh?
Oh, sorry, I was asking.
Oh yeah. It's that's something. That's a lot of sales. That's the amount of Xbox One users that are out there. Possibly.
Well, here's the question we want to answer then. Do we want to play this game? If it's a yes, then yeah. I want to play this game.
Yeah.
Eventually.
One day. Okay. So, I don't know if you guys have heard the news of Will Ferrell hosting a charity event for Cancer Through Gaming. That sounded weird saying it out loud like that. Cancer Through Gaming. It's a charity event that is focused on, helping to cure cancer. And it's a charity event that's focused on gaming. So you can donate in order to be entered into a chance to win a round 2 trip with to Will Ferrell and a bunch of other YouTubers and gamers out there, and like playing games with them for charity. So they'll be live streaming the event, et cetera, et cetera. There'll be links in the description on blackonlyblog.com. You'll be able to see the actual link itself, but. I think that's really cool, though. I mean, this is kind of reminds me of that thing that you kind of proposed to me a little while back of, gaming for charity.
Extra Life, yes,
Yeah.
which is available. Please join the Extra Life Foundation. Extra Life Foundation. Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up, join a team, and donate. That's on October 25th. I love to see anybody who's using gaming for charity. Mm-hmm. I think it takes away from that stigma that a lot of gamers have given the media and the public eye about not doing anything. But when you have a passionate industry willing to back up a good cause, it's a win no matter what you say.
Right. I agree, and I hope a lot of people jump on board with this because the gaming community is huge, and so if we can pull that energy towards like a great cause like this, then that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look what crowdfunding does. I mean, It got how many projects off the ground just by people giving their funds. I mean, if we can put what, 4 or 5 million into a Tim Schafer project, I'm sure we can produce enough money for a good charity.
Right. Just saying.
Yeah, just really. Like, I actually find, I mean, the whole Oculus thing, Mighty Number Nine, like, I'm very happy they got a crowdfunding. They got it crowdfunded, but man, sometimes I just really wish the resources would go to even a better cause. Like, yes, I'm excited about these games, but Oculus got bought out for 2 billion, right? Was that the price?
It was something ridiculous.
It was something crazy, and I was just like, man, I know a lot of people that could have used that money. I know a lot of small indie developers that could have used that money. I know a lot of strong charities that could have used even a fraction of what got made, and it's just you hope that people did the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also kind of playing into Microsoft buying out Mojang for so much money. It's like I could have thought of a couple of things that, unless there was something so big that they will be able to do so many more things out of that acquisition. You know, there was so many uses they could have did that for, but
Yeah, Google. No, I'm sorry, it was Amazon buying Twitch. That was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Everyone and their griping was just like, "Oh man, we're gonna have Twitch on fire now." And no matter what company was rumored to buy it, they were trolling it so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, you people have no idea the good that can come from a company being bought out like this and having so many resources pooled with a very strong infrastructure. But why bother explaining that to a bunch of gamers online?
Yeah, the trolls, man. It's very real.
Just reap the benefits later. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. I know that you guys know that I'm a huge Metal Gear fan.
No. I might quiz you on Metal Gear trivia one day.
That's okay. I would hope to God that I know, because like, all right. So
Because if I walk up and say "la li lay low" and you don't respond, I think I have a problem.
Lalilulelo?
It can't be.
What's the Lalilulelo? So, all right. Metal Gear is gonna eventually release. I don't know when. I want it now. They just had a huge media info blowout. There will be information for you guys to check out that link to see what kind of information they revealed at TGS. But every time they reveal something about this game or they announce it, like, my mind is perpetually blown, because it's something that I would not have thought of as being a possibility for implementation. You know, gameplay, story elements. I mean, like, there are characters that you can go through that entire game without ever interacting with.
I'm only learning a lot of this information now. Have we lost our third, by the way?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Are you watching the game?
I'm getting close to cutoff time.
yes. I'm trying to get through the things.
I apologize for taking us so much time, but as a Metal Gear fanatic, as somebody who's very stoked about this is the most mysterious Metal Gear I've ever seen. Because since we're in prequel mode, and it would take a lot to surprise me because it's nothing really affecting the end game of Metal Gear that I know of. For the sake of just a game development standpoint, that is an impressive game.
So fucking impressive. Holy shit.
Which is why I've tried to stay the hell away from it. Because Will recently got me onto the Metal Gear series. I'm still in 3.
Yeah,
I've not beaten 3 or 4.
Once you play 3, dude.
So I'm trying to stay the hell away.
Your life is going to be changed.
I mean, once you play 4, you'll still be impressed by the production standards of a game like that, and that's 7 years old now.
Yeah. Insane.
So, like, I've heard a lot of good stuff, and I've seen a little tiny bit, but I'm ignoring all links and videos and pictures and everything that I can to just try and have my mind still. Actually, I'm in the 70s right now because I'm Big Boss. I believe in Big Boss. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm trying to stay away from the other stuff I don't need to know yet.
Right.
Not yet.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I can't get enough of it, and I'm really excited that this can be a really big release, because I think, like you, Dave, you never played any Metal Gear games before until like recently.
And they're all awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think Metal Gear has absolutely the potential to be a really huge hit, just because of a lot of things. But when 3 came out and it said the sales numbers, and like other games came out around the time that I didn't think were as great, and it sold more, I was just like, man, if only people knew, And so I'm hoping this is something that catches on a lot, because Metal Gear Ground Zero sold really well, despite it being a demo essentially. And You guys know. You
Yeah.
guys know.
I mean, I honestly, you may see that in my playing queue in the next week just to check it out. But the game is without a doubt something to look forward to. I mean, that's an impressive engine. It's an impressive, point of view. And since there's so much brand new, like you really don't know where you are. There's so much to explore now. Like you aren't going to just totally assume who anyone is, and there's some chances they can really surprise you because there's a lot of characters floating around that we don't know quite when they're coming in, but if we see some cameos, we're gonna lose our minds.
I'm gonna flip my.
Like anybody you see as a cameo, and I don't want to say a word because I don't want to spoil. Not only do I don't want to spoil it for you, but I also don't want to jinx it. Like I don't want to say anything. But if I see certain people, we're like,
The timeline fits in terms of seeing certain characters at a very young age. And
if I see Gray Fox, I'm gonna shit, man.
And you don't even know, dude. So
my bowels are gonna lose control.
You never played Portable Ops, so
no, I haven't.
Are you gonna play Portable Ops?
I am familiar with Portable Ops.
Okay, you are familiar. Okay, so you see him in that game.
Say nothing else.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm just wondering. He has to be in the game. He has to.
Whatever. We'll see. I don't know enough to comment further. I'll stay out of this.
Gray Fox is so badass.
But just to talk about what's going on with it, I think that Metal Gear, the showing so far at TGS, it was a very, very big game. I'm glad they're taking so much time to really put attention to the game. Mm-hmm. It is next year. I badly hope it comes out before Batman. Because and hopefully not at the same time as Witcher. It's the kind of game that if you only play one type of those games, you probably wouldn't want to play all three of them at once.
Right.
So it's like I hope that comes in at a lean March, April time. That way you got plenty of time because Batman's a big deal. You don't want to go
huge deal.
But The Witcher has had so much backing and it's a very strong game and
very strong community support.
So you want it to be at a good release window, and this is my opinion. So hopefully we see that in March, April, because that's going to be a great time to play games.
For selfish reasons, I hope it comes out sooner than that. But I will ground my expectations in realism and say it will likely be around that time.
Fair. Bloodborne.
John Carmack reveals his latest project, which is supposedly a Zelda-like experience for the Oculus Rift.
Oculus.
So you have your thoughts about Oculus. So I want to let this spill into our hot topics for a second to ask you if you think, VR is really going to be the next big thing.
I think VR needs to be focused on more than just gaming. I think if VR is going to be the next thing, we need to see other industries use it as another big thing. I feel like the Oculus and that VR type of technology is too important to an entire technology industry to just allow it to be in only games. And although we've had some examples of how it can be used, you kind of need to see every other industry take it under its wing. Like, hey, we use Oculus for such. Like, we need to see. We need the Oculus act as television does. Like I would like to see Samsung and Sony on VR because they need to push it as hard as you push a television because that's what you're replacing. So I think that's what we need to see Oculus do, and I'm actually not even concerned with of what it'll do for gaming at all. Like I'm interested; it'll be cool, but I won't see it streamlined for years, and that's why I'm more interested in seeing other uses for it. As for games, very exciting, and it won't be adopted for quite some time. But you really got to see other people push it hard. That's why I'm glad. I'm a minority here, but I'm very glad Facebook bought it out because everyone's like, oh, what are they going to do with it? I was just like, they're not going to do much. They have a technology infrastructure with insurmountable amounts of data they can use to gear Oculus Rift towards. It's not just supposed to be a user experience where you're entertained. This can be something that that pushes augmented reality forward. We've got virtual, but if we see ourselves using different devices, Facebook now has the R&D research from Oculus and the financial backing, with billions to sit on, and they gain more to push this technology forward. Now in the future, if they want to do something, hey, Facebook's got our back. We don't really have to worry all that much about where we'll get our funding because they were crowdfunding first.
Right.
And now Sony's division vision of VR, and I think Microsoft has one built as well. If they all come together in a way of like pushing the industry forward, that's why it'll succeed. That's just me, but I'm far beyond gaming. Oculus and things like that. It's like, yeah, gaming, sure, but hey, how about surgery?
Yeah. How about porn? I mean,
We're all thinking it. I just didn't want to say it.
I have no shame. And so that's going to be really interesting because I remember reading an article a while back saying that the porn industry was embracing this idea of 3D. And where is 3D now? I mean, like it's still in theaters, but it's not really in people's homes that much. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it can be applied to so many different things. Or like, imagine what video chat would be like if it was all 3 dimensional and you can like look around in the environment and you can look down at someone's pants and see if they're wearing shorts or not. Like.
Sports, and I really hope the NFL. I mean, I know it's a convenient topic to say, but I do hope the NFL and the NHL, not so much the NBA, but I do hope that these two major industries do adapt to it as well. I mean, from my point of view, imagine having the virtual camera, on the 50-yard line and allowing anyone to move themselves down there.
All right. Speaking of which, I got to do it. I've pushed the time limit as far as I can go.
It's all good.
I've DVR'd at least 40 minminutes of game here, so I have to.
It's all good, brother. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thanks for having me. Continue, but I got to go.
We can continue as a 2-man operation from here on out.
All right. Enjoy the game, man.
Yeah. He was so excited. And, I'm with you on that, though. I think, I think once we see more people embracing the idea of VR, we'll see that more. Are you still there? There we go.
Okay. Apologies. I missed what you said.
Okay, no worries. So, I agree with you on that, though. I think that once we see wider spread implications and implementation across the board, then we'll really get to see the impact of what that technology has, especially if they can do it in a consumer-friendly way, like not ridiculously expensive.
Exactly. I mean, Oculus devices shouldn't be more than $250 at the very most. And
At
even
the
that
very
would be a
most.
luxury. Yeah, I mean, because Oculus devices, in my opinion, should also start working with different mobile devices, thus phones, thus tablets and things like that. Whatever they plan on doing with this, they're going to roll it out slowly. Because this technology is pretty much super advanced, and if you know how consumers take in technology that's way too quick, they go, oh, it's too much, and they reject it. You got to go really, really slow, introduce it slowly. So, we'll see this slowly evolve. It won't be like next year, we're playing Skyrim. All right. But,
Awesome.
It'd be fantastic. I mean, I personally I saw a demo for Iron Man used with the Oculus Rift, and he was flying through, and I was like, that was very, very cool. But so far, people's experience with VR has actually made them motion sick and things like that, which is not the best thing, but it's also showing the amount of realism that you have there, and people feel what's going on.
Yeah.
And as you polish that technology, we'll see some pretty cool stuff. I just hope it works, and I hope you don't screw it up.
Yeah, same with Morpheus. I mean, I've seen a lot of different things said about Morpheus. I never got to try the Morpheus, but I did try the Oculus Rift, and I thought that was really cool. But if the Morpheus can be successful, especially with the backing of PlayStation users, and if they can find a way to make that work with PC as well, the Morpheus, that would be huge.
It would be huge. It would be wise of Sony to allow the PC to be used. Making that an exclusive PlayStation device is weird.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
Yeah, especially since you've already made your PS4 controllers PC compatible.
Right. I was playing Titanfall on PC with my PS4 controller. That was fucking awesome.
How was that?
In terms of the game itself, or in terms of using the PS4 controller?
Using a PS4 controller for a game that was designed on an Xbox.
It was cool. It was really cool. It felt very natural, as weird as that sounds. It felt nice. It felt real nice. Yeah.
Titanfall. That was one of my favorite games this year. Whether people who won't admit it or not, but I think about all the games this year, Titanfall was a big favorite.
But at least on PC, the last time I tried to play, I was waiting around for a considerable amount of time for any matches to start. Like there was no one playing it.
That's a downer.
That is a downer, and for a game that's like really reliant on like online only. Like I did a video about it a little while ago, talking about why online only can technically be a detriment in terms of certain games like that. Whereas like if you play a year later, there's no one playing it, then you just can't play it.
It does make it a downer, and it's something to say about online only games, especially with all this online connectivity we have. The lifespan of your games dies when there's no single player or there's no lonely experience, and you can't just keep playing with bots.
Right.
That is saying something. So if your lifetime, if your games die, at a young age, it's just like, what are you doing to your franchise?
Right. I assume there are still a lot of people playing Titanfall on Xbox One though, and Xbox 360.
They are definitely on Xbox One at the very least. There's plenty of people playing, although they are higher level players. Like the casual player is not playing Titanfall right now. They're all playing Destiny.
This is true. This is true. And before we move on to our hot topics, I wanted to touch on Super Smash Brothers selling. I think this is in Japan. Selling 1 million units on a 3DS.
Jesus Christ!
Didn't the game just come out?
Yeah, that was literally over 2 days. I can't even like hate that number. That's nuts.
That's pretty nuts. Now I'm wondering. We talked about this before in terms of like the split off between the Wii U and the 3DS and kind of what that means for Nintendo. They have this console that isn't selling as well as the other console in the homeland, PS4. And I feel like the Wii U is like teetering on the edge of like supporting it but not really supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's released first on a 3DS and then will be released on the Wii U makes me wonder if people will just skip out on the Wii U version.
That is probably a risk that they took. I feel like your decision on what system you want to play it on was probably made a while back, like whether or not you want the full, Smash experience. I think, if you look at the entire Smash experience on the 3DS, it's fully fleshed out. All the modes, everything's there. They give you a strong Smash Brothers experience, but I feel like they're probably going to separate some features or, give you a different kind of thing going on the Wii U to say, hey, if you want to keep on going, go right ahead, but we still have our core audience here on the Wii U, but we have a different audience on the 3DS. So if you're a Smash head, you'll probably buy both, but it does keep the hype train for Smash Brothers going on, because now when you go to a store, you go to GameStop, and you've got that option of, my kid wants to play Super Smash Brothers, I don't want to buy this Wii U, but it's fantastic on the 3DS, you've got options now.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's true.
So it's probably better that they, releasing it first was, I think a good move, although I don't think it was in it far enough in advance. Like, this game really should have been out before the summer, because it would have sold like crazy. And now it's just like we're back in, from the U.S. perspective, games on the DS, sell like crazy over all the summer, the summer, and they sell like Christmas. But it could you could have had a Smash Brothers, train going this whole time and sold more Wii U's that way. Yeah. So I feel strongly that you'll see a bit of a hit on Wii U sales from Smash Brothers just because of the 3DS version, and a game that's sold at a lower price point definitely will hurt Wii U sales, because it's weird. Nintendo's like playing its cards against itself, because you've now released a new 3DS system with Xeno coming out, 3DS Smash Brothers, and then you don't have a strong lineup on the Wii U to compete with your own games. Bayonetta is not good enough to compete with everything coming out this year, even on your own system. Like, Bayonetta is not strong enough to take interest away from Smash Brothers.
Or from 3DS in general. I love Bayonetta, but that's so true.
Right? And it's just like, this is you're playing against yourselves, and I don't get it at all.
I mean, in the end, they still make out well, because people will still be buying Nintendo stuff anyway, but I also I'm in the mindset that like they work against their Wii U system so often. Like Pokemon, for example, if we just take into account, there's going to be a Pokemon Tekken game coming out for Wii U.
Clueless on that one. Because Tekken Tag Tournament barely sold on the Wii U either. So what made you think this was a good idea?
Because of Pokemon. But the thing is that they would have they would have money in the bank on Wii U alone if they just either announced a Pokemon game on the Wii U, or allowed you to play your Pokemon 3DS game on your Wii U.
You mean like the Game Boy Advance to GameCube connection back
Yes,
in the
or
day?
the Game Boy Color to the N64 with Pokemon Snap.
Oh yeah.
It's not Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium.
Yes,
They
Pokemon.
they allows you to play matches and the actual game on your N64.
I gotta admit, if you had a Pokemon Stadium Redux, so to speak, on the Wii, geez, what the hell is wrong?
That's money. That's money right there in their fucking hands that they're just don't want it.
I've gone on this rant about Nintendo so many times. My friends hate me for it, but I gotta admit, as a Japanese developer, they make some very interesting decisions about what games they push and what games they don't push. They're experimenting with the mobile scene, with Pokemon trading card game.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
Can't wait. That's great. That's great. Like, hey, Hearthstone type Pokemon. That should. I mean, if any game's gonna outsell Hearthstone, it'll be that one.
yes.
But I'm just like, but what about everything else?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No,
so many other things you can release there, and you're just not gonna bother.
an old Legend of Zelda game would sell so much fucking copies on mobile devices.
I mean, even if you just take away from like rehashing their classics. Let's look at games that they can produce. Like, let's just say they adopted the mobile system and made, I'm going to really throw it out there. Sonic the Hedgehog became a running game. Okay, like it became a runner on the
Endless Runner.
Yeah, endless runner, real good fun. Like left, right, things like that. The game sold like crazy for Sega, and that was surprising. That's copying a model that worked for them. If Nintendo even grazed that market, it would go crazy. I mean, there's a ton of clones that go on all the time. They get ripped down because of copyright infringement. But if Nintendo says, hey, we're going to try this game out and see what you guys think, and we've just made a Pokemon Match 3 game.
Yeah.
If you made it good enough, I mean, there's some very strong minds at Nintendo. There's some very good ideas there. I feel like it's more of a company culture thing rather than an opportunity, because they have a particular brand that they don't want to lose integrity by following a trend. And I'm starting to learn that with Nintendo. And even though it's a shame, I would love to play these games, I think it's just like, we can harp all they want to. We've been saying Pokemon MMO for years. I mean,
they don't want to do that shit.
I mean, think about it. Trainers all over the world.
Yeah.
Battle system Pokemon Stadium. It's just like, this is instant money.
It's
but
so
you never do it. And it's just like, I just don't get it. I mean, I said it before, I say it again. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine going out there, your battles are, available, you're catching Pokemon, you're training them over here. The whole infrastructure could happen. Hell, I actually asked myself if anyone's ever made a mock version of this themselves. It wouldn't surprise me. But when you're a strong IP like Game Freak, and unless there's some big old surprise from Nintendo saying, by the way, Pokemon MMO, Wii U, the Wii U just outsold the PS4 in 48 seconds. I gotta admit, the Pokemon universe works as a pocket type of game, and that's a company culture thing. That's the way they want it to be, and they won't change that because they don't want to lose the integrity of the franchise.
But if they want those sales, I mean, like, imagine like what Final Fantasy 15 is doing with their real-time action strategy. Imagine that applied to a Pokemon game on the Wii U. Like, just for a second.
Just imagine.
Yeah, like that would be like, imagine running around as like Pikachu throwing lightning bolts at enemies in like a real Pokemon battle,
Oh man, I mean, maybe Pokken. Is it called Pokken, or?
I think it's Pokken. It's a fighting game.
Looking at this system that they're going to be using for this fighting game, I'm not sure if it's a gimmick or not. Maybe it's test data. We'll have to see. But the game, I literally saw next to nothing about the game at all.
Okay.
So we'll have to see, do a little bit more actual gameplay to see what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I saw some gameplay footage of like movements and action and stuff like that.
I mean, this experimentation of, Hyrule Warriors, Dynasty Warriors, kinds of things like that, Captain Toad taking on a Pikmin, not a Pikmin thing, but more like a Cubert kind of thing going on. Like, the experimentation is interesting. I feel like they're probably making games for other people. But your diehard Nintendo audience that is reaching its 20s and 30s at this point now, they're not quite sure what to think.
Yeah.
And if they're either thinking two things, either one, we're going to keep going and this is our core audience, or we should probably just think about letting these guys go, keep the nostalgia real, you know what I mean, and not lose those memories by creating rehash memories and maybe focusing on a new demographic. This, like I see other companies do, because you do kind of have to change with the times.
Right.
You would just spit out another Zelda, another Mario, another Metroid this generation. Even though they'll be fantastic, they won't do what they did last time.
Right.
Because if you remember well,
long time ago.
You know, it's a very long time. Metroid Other M was the last Metroid that came out, and talk about bomb.
I don't even know what happened with that game.
I mean, I was excited to play it, and it was a really big letdown. And Donkey Kong was a fantastic. You know, it came back and it sold well, and it shows that their core franchises can still do well. Mm-hmm. However, if you don't take care of it properly, you'll lose a lot of new gamers trying to please your old audience, and then vice versa. Mm-hmm. So it makes you wonder. I'm not sure what your plan is anymore. I would love to sit down with the marketing and with the projections team at Nintendo and just be like, so what's up? I just want to, like, I don't even care what games you're making anymore. I just want to know, what's your plan? Like, what's on? I mean, the amount of capital gain they've lost over the last few years after the Wii U came out is just like, man, you're losing a lot of money. You're not struggling. You're not a company that's failing, but as a company that
division.
Yeah, it's just like, what's going on, guys? I mean, they have to prove nothing to anyone. They don't have to go to anyone else. They watch the beat of their own drum. Mm-hmm. But what's next I got to admit, has got me curious, because I thought the 3DS was on its way out, and to see this new remodel as 3DS Plus or the new 3DS.
The new 3DS. Fuck, I hate that name, by the way.
Oh, that's gonna screw up Christmas so bad.
They have been terrible at names for a very long time.
They've been pretty bad, and I feel bad for a lot of parents who are going to sit there and come to the store and say, "Can I have a new 3DS, please?" And you know, every employee is going to have to explain, well, which one do you want?
Do you want the new 3DS, or do you just want a new 3DS?
Not even that. It's like you still have the regular DSs on the shelves. You've got the Nintendo 3DS. You've got the 3DS XL. Then you've got the 2DS. Yep. Then you've got the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL.
What the fuck?
Like, I don't even know what's happening anymore, and I'm just really blown away by allowing that to happen.
Yeah, that
essentially releasing a system remodel that can run better games and things like that.
And certain games will only run on it.
So, I mean, what does that mean for the future of their games? Does that mean we all have to get new systems?
Yep, that's pretty much it.
But what the downside is that, okay, there's really no competitor in that market. The Vita is not a competitor in that market.
No, it's not.
It's kind of like, yeah, you guys can, bitch all you want to, but you ain't got nothing else anyway.
Right, right. I have
a
Vita, and I don't really play it much. Like, I used it for a remote play a couple of times, but, like, in terms of, like, I'm not really a mobile gamer anyway. Mm-hmm. But I don't really use my Vita that much, and I imagine that if I had the 3DS as well as the Vita, I'd probably play the 3DS more, but...
I'll be honest, my girlfriend plays the 3DS far more than I do. We switch off every now and again. She'll grab Tekken or, a couple fighting games on the Vita, and I'll play, whatever she's playing at the time just to go it out. But I play my Vita nearly every day, but I'm playing games that are often available on other consoles. Right. It's not a bad thing. There's plenty of games on Vita, in my opinion, that I enjoy. Stealth, Clone in the Dark. I'm playing Muramasa again.
Muramasa is awesome.
Yeah, really great
Gravity
game.
Rush is awesome too. Yeah,
I'm on the train and everyone's looking on the show like, oh, check that out. It's awesome, but I'm not going to get one.
It's like, well, fucking. The thing is, we'll move on to the next topic in a second. But the thing is, I got these grips for the Vita. Actually, give me a second. I'll bring them over.
Okay. Off camera. Trigger grips.
So, I don't know if you can see these.
Check that out. Okay.
Yeah,
Is that any good?
They're pretty cool. I mean, I haven't really, truth be told, I haven't actually, like, done anything with them yet. But, like, in terms of, like, holding it in my hand, like, I just got them recently. Like, it's got triggers on it and everything, so it's nifty.
So it just fits in your hand a lot better. Do you find yourself performing better with most games?
So the thing is, like, my hands used to cramp because of like the placement of like this, the trackpad in the back, and like you have to make sure you're not pressing it, so your hands like this, and then like it's small. So I found that this extra heft, especially for like bigger hands, is like really useful for playing it for extended periods of time. So I remember when I was playing Soul Sacrifice a lot. That was a big issue for me. Is like playing it for extended periods of time. I was just like my hands just felt uncomfortable.
I gotta admit, it is easier to play your 3DS for a longer period of time, and I wholeheartedly understand the difference.
Yeah.
Like every time I want to get rid of my Vita and get a 3DS instead, which happens more often, it's because I keep the Vita because there's so many free games as well. PlayStation
So
Plus has
many.
made that.
So
And
many.
it's a weird thing. Is just like I keep this stuff for the free games, but am I playing them because they're free or because they're quality games? And it's just like, oh man, like I'm not sure. Am I telling myself the truth about that? So again, Nintendo doesn't have any competition in that mobile space,
Right.
so they can do what they want. And with Smash Brothers selling the way it did, and people who will trade in their 3DS XL Red because the Yoshi one's coming out and pay full price for it. I can't really knock it. Like people
People want it.
People want it. So although I can't call Nintendo crazy for making this move, it's dumb as hell. It's really confusing, but it's gonna sell. Unfortunately, like that's the truth. It's gonna sell.
It is gonna sell.
And there it is.
So, as we move on to our hot topics, we kind of like transitioned into them. Do you have a guest topic that you'd like to throw into the foray aside from what we've already been talking about?
Oh goodness, we've talked about so many things.
So many.
And I did touch upon the article that I'm writing now about the age of gamers and the difference of what's happening between our games and their games. And again, when I say their games, I consider myself someone who's been gaming. Yeah, I think we'll talk about that for a little bit. But I know we've been talking for so long, I don't want to go too much longer. But we started, most people's first gaming experiences 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And if you watch a younger child play a video game and see what they experience and see what they want to do, what we were doing at our age and what they're doing at their age is actually a very different story. We are the generation that grew up looking for stories and experiences. Like we started evolving with our characters. We wanted more. Now it's so far down the pipeline. If you ask an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid who Mega Man is, oh, it's that guy, but they don't really know Mega Man. They don't know Sigma. They don't know what happened to X. They don't know what happened with Zero.
So sad.
It's not really. It's sad, but it's just like, but this isn't their place. Like this is like expecting them to know the entire chronological order of The Godfather. It's and Metal Gear is another example of that. Like you really don't have a place where you can learn about Metal Gear unless you've played other Metal Gears. And if I'm 14, 15 years old and Metal Gear's way over my head and I don't care, well, I don't care. It wasn't my game. Like, even it took me till I was 14 to play the first Metal Gear Solid, and I got in there, but my brother is 18 years old, and he never touched those games. My brother's, sorry, he's 22. He never touched those games. He was a Kingdom Hearts guy. And now my nephew is 6, going on 7. He has no idea what any of this stuff is. His games are Skylanders and such. So when he's 10, 4 years from now, and these other games, let's just say he wants to play games now, in his age range. Let's say if Mega Man did come out, he's not going to care.
Well, the beautiful thing is that there are a lot of reboots now. So these reboots are kind of bringing
But those
fresh new life.
reboots are for us. They're breathing life, but they're for us. They're fan service. They're not. I don't think they're attracting new gamers because the majority of the Zelda players, if you look at the people, I mean, I can't tell you I have hard data that I'm allowed to speak out loud on this right now. But the people who played the new Zelda: Link Between Worlds was not a young age group. But they played Yoshi and they played Mario. But A Link Between Worlds is not a game that you would give a younger generation of gamers because it's not quite their interest. Not saying that's every single one of them. Right. But Minecraft is a fantastic example of what's happening to the younger generation, and the rules have changed. Now, when you're confined to a certain area, it doesn't make sense to them. When it's not open world and they can't do whatever they want to do, it doesn't make sense to them. Having a timer in a game is kind of weird. That's like, why is there a timer in here?
Yeah, I don't like timers. I never liked them.
But before, it used to be standard for us. Like, that,
Yeah.
okay, I have this much time to get from one end of the level to another one, or I'm going to lose. You tell that to a 6-year-old now, I go, why?
Yeah, yeah. What
Say,
the fuck?
what's going on? And now
Yeah.
customization is a huge aspect of it. Call of Duty players, who of course shouldn't be playing those games at that age, but most of the younger majority of Call of Duty players, it's all about customization.
Yeah.
How many guns, my camos, my skins.
Yep.
League of Legends is the same way. Wizard 101 is the same way. True customization is something that a younger generation prefers because it's about identity. While again, our generation, The Last of Us. You think a bunch of 12-year-olds were playing The Last of Us?
There's some 12-year-olds I've fought against in that
Yeah,
game.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
I always speak from a majority standpoint, not from the minority. But a majority of the players the games they're making for are the biggest purchasers right now are age 21 to 36. Mostly age 25 to 36 who are making the majority of video game purchases because we grew up with games, we have the money, and we have games to play, and we have the option of being picky about what we choose. But if you're 14, 15 years old, if you remember what it was like buying games at that age before you could even trade, you didn't have all this access. You didn't have any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing for them. So you only have 1 or 2 games to choose from. So that's why you'll see them really jump on different bandwagons and stick with one game longer that has more to do instead of playing game after game. Like, they're not going to shuttle through every single game like play, trade. They'll be like, well, I'd rather have a game I can keep playing for a long time.
Yeah.
And keep on building upon it.
And that's really interesting too, because you mentioned Mario, for example, and I think the younger generations are still playing those games.
They are. I didn't say they weren't.
Oh yeah.
I didn't say they weren't, and they are still playing those games. But I thank God for the level designers of those particular Mario titles. But how long do you think that'll last? FYI, Minecraft outsold Mario.
Oh, I believe it, because it's available on so many more platforms too.
I did ask myself why it wasn't on 3DS, but man,
that's money. That's money right there. That they could have.
I do wonder if there was a reason behind that, but the top 10 DS games, 3DS games, I'll say the top 5: Pokemon, Mario, Fire Emblem. This is actually sales. Fire Emblem, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Two Worlds, and surprisingly enough, the Professor Layton series is up there. But outside of that one, it was actually Donkey Kong.
Okay, all right.
So the big 3 are up there.
Right.
Okay, Pokemon is obviously the big experience, but if you look at the attach rate to systems and games, the 3DS has a 2.5 attach rate on games. The amount of games people play on 3DS, they have a tendency to play one game much long, rather than playing multiple games. The Xbox was in the same situation where the attach rate for games was around 6 or 7, while PlayStation was upward 9 to 10.
Yeah.
And then the Vita has one of the highest attach rates in history of games, because people buy a lot of games for it.
Yeah,
but
it's really interesting.
It is, but people switch out very often. So you find yourself realizing what is making someone play this game for so much longer, or are they just playing in such short bursts they don't really need new games all the time?
Right.
Like, you play a DS for half an hour to an hour at the very most.
Yeah.
If you're playing any longer than that, you're really going on a long trip.
Right.
But if you're playing a PlayStation, for example, you're at home with the experience, and you're probably playing different amounts of games. But going back to what kids are doing nowadays, I think, and I'd like you to chime in on this. Do you have a younger brother, younger siblings, anybody?
I have slightly younger siblings, half siblings, but they don't really game that much. Like me and my brother, he's older than me, and we used to play all the fucking time. It was amazing. But proceed.
Well, if you go talk to a group, I don't know how to address this properly. I can't say go talk to a group of kids.
Talk to some little kids. Well, all right, I can use this as an example. My ex-girlfriend's little brother was like very, very much like I was like his big brother type of thing. I should probably spend more time with him. But he's like 10 now, and so I kind of have the experience of kind of having this sort of little brother dichotomy going on there.
Keep going.
So I noticed that he liked a lot of the Dragon Ball Z games, for example. Like, he loved those games. He played Sonic a lot. He played. I tried to get him on. What am I thinking of? Legend of Zelda. I tried to get him the Twilight Princess, and he wasn't really that into it because he kind of like his relationship with games was much different than the older generation. And it's interesting because like a lot of people say that Nintendo caters a lot of his experiences to children, but which is true in a lot of ways. But like Twilight Princess, he was just not really that into it.
Hmm.
So I found that interesting.
Do you, I think that and I'm glad you had that experience with him because you can see the difference in what you guys like in games. Because if you spoke to someone your age, it's like, yes, Twilight Princess. Oh my God, it's been so long. Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but if he didn't play that, he's got no reason to care.
Yeah.
At all. Like
he started
this game,
liking it more the more he played it, but like in terms of initial reactions, it's just like, oh, okay. Like none of these characters talk.
exactly. I mean, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, the prior games is what causes so much popularity. And if there wasn't a fan following of the people who admired the first game, then they wouldn't worry about it. So the real thing we should be doing is, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I have a lot of friends who have children who are playing games now, and I watch them play, and I watch them see. I see what they do, and I see what they're interested in. And although they should not play Call of Duty, they play Call of Duty. But the first thing one is they go, "Hey, how many guns do I have? Can I switch my guns on the fly? How come there's this wall here?" They hate barriers.
Yes.
And they want to be able to play with one another, and they also want to be able to show off. And I get that. Now, the latest IP that came out in the middle of this seventh cycle, ninth cycle technically, but in the middle of the PS3, that was a brand new IP that hasn't had a sequel just yet. Minecraft is one of them. Other games that were come on, I'm thinking DS here, and I'm blanking out on the biggest DS games. Come on, Andy.
Well, I mean, we have Pokemon, right?
Yeah, and Pokemon's been going strong for quite some time.
Yeah.
What else? Goodness, why am I blanking out here? I'm usually so good at this. I'm usually really, really good at this. I apologize, everyone, for blanking out so far. Now. Yeah, I look at it this way.
Bravely Default?
And I'm going to give you this example to think about. We played Metal Gear Solid. It was a huge deal. Like, wow, we never really played a game like this before. It's brand new.
Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing is not one of them, but it's a big one.
Okay.
Bravely Default is a game that is a fantastic game. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous JRPG. I would really be interested to see who plays that more, though. Our age or their age?
Our age, most likely.
Most likely.
Yeah.
We played Metal Gear. Metal Gear 2 was a huge, huge deal because we loved Metal Gear Solid 1 so much. Those boss battles were so unique and everything was crazy different.
Yes.
And Metal Gear Solid 3 came out. Yes, we're still Metal Gear fans.
Right.
Metal Gear Solid 4 comes out. The biggest question on most people's minds was, well, I didn't really play the last ones. I don't really know what's going on.
Should I buy it?
Because then you have that gap of people who weren't there. It's kind of like, hearing a really great story in the middle of it. Like, I didn't really catch what's going on, so it's not quite as impactful to me as it would be. But this new game is just like, hey, this game's kind of awesome, though. Like, I enjoyed Crackdown, or I enjoyed... Sunset Overdrive has a great chance of being a really big for a sequel. I'm trying really hard not to think about next gen, current gen games. Trying to think of the last generation. Ratchet and Clank was in a perfect position at the time to be really, really big for those kids, but it really fizzled out. I am struggling right now. I apologize. My point's being completely skewed.
I kind of get what you're saying, though. It's like new IPs.
Yeah, I think what I want to say is finally that you want to give them their own piece of gaming history. Like, this was our game. Like, our parents, Pac-Man, us, Mario, them, what? Like, what's going to be the game that define your generation? If you had to literally put, 5-year dips of games and you were able to identify what was going on. Like, if you look at 2001 to 2002, Dance Dance Revolution was one of the most popular games out there. DDR, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you remember you were part of that movement. Now you ask somebody who's 10, what the hell is DDR? I know Just Dance.
Right.
And it's just there for them. So they need something they're going to be excited about too, and they'll build their own likes and dislikes in the future. I don't think they should be jumping onto what we love more. Like, Call of Duty is a household name, sure, but eventually there'll be another game that overtakes it. I hope it does. I really do hope that there's something more than just Call of Duty, because it's been a solid amount of years, but I like to see the next generation have their own identity.
That's fair.
I think that's the point I was horribly making. Much better job in my article. But that's, I feel like I need more parents to chime in on that because we have a lot of young parents right now. We have kids who are still growing up and their first games are Mario, just like us, and Minecraft. Not like.
So where can people check out that article?
Gameskinny.com.
Gameskinny.com.
Yes, it's
Andy, it has been awesome having you on this podcast session. This is your very first appearance here.
I appreciate that. I think we definitely got a little crazy.
It was a good kind of crazy because there's a lot of shit we talked about.
Yeah, we definitely did. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a blast. You're fantastic to speak to. I hope to come back soon.
Absolutely, man. You're in the podcast thread, so you know.
I'm there.
Yeah, now. And yeah, guys, make sure you check out his content on Gameskinny.com. Make sure you keep it locked into the Black Only channel, either on iTunes or on YouTube. You make sure you are subscribed to see all the new content coming. And thank you for listening. Yeah, man. Game on and Jay Blaze out.
That was a good time.